Hello, my name is Bill Hall. Today I'd like to talk about 5 reasons why you might not be able to alternate pick fast. For me as a young player, I was growing up in the 1980s, and I'll never forget when I first heard Yngwie Malmsteen. It just blew me away. It was amazing. I heard him in Alcatraz, and had albums like Live Sentence and the first one, No Pro from Rock and Roll. And then a little later I heard like Vinnie Moore, like A Mind's Eye and Vicious Rumors. And the period was just like mind-blowing for a guitar technique. It seemed like every month the bar was being raised and people were doing more and more unbelievable things on the guitar. At the time I was playing a lot of electric guitar, and I remember sitting in my bedroom putting on an Alcatraz album and trying to figure out what to do. How can I pick fast? In that kind of journey of learning how to pick fast, I discovered some things that are really important to get down your picking. Number one thing you need to do is you need to be able to get your motion mechanic going. You need to be able to develop that pick motion that you can tremolo the note with. That motion is really the top speed that you're going to be able to play. So you need to find that motion that's comfortable, that you have some control with, and that you can do comfortably. It doesn't matter if it's your wrist, elbow, forearm, that kind of thing. Really the thing is you have to get the pick moving in a tremolo motion. In a lot of ways I think the actual mechanic, what you're doing it with, it's not as important as the actual pick just moving itself. So you want to find a way that you can do that by experimenting. If you can't do it now, you might want to try resting your hands, or try playing free, try your hand down, try your hand back. Just try anything you can do till you can get that pick moving. And once you get that pick moving, that is what you want to kind of gear your technique for. And you're going to play different at a slower tempo than you are at a faster tempo generally. I mean, we trigger different muscles and different reflexes whether we play slow or fast. So the first thing is you want to get your tremolo down. And when you get the tremolo down, the second most important thing you can do is to get your left hand even. This hand's so important. I mean, if you're playing and your right hand's just motoring along, this hand has to keep up and play the music, play the notes, but it has to be even. In other words, if each finger's not coming down at the same time, it's not going to sound good. And I find what a lot of players do is they think their right hand's not keeping up when it's really their left hand, and they just tense up and try to play faster, and the whole thing falls apart. So what I would do is I'd recommend just practicing legato exercises with your left hand. It doesn't even have to be fast. You want it to be even. It's actually harder to legato to medium tempo in perfect time than it is just to hammer on and pull off fast. So I would recommend practicing it that way. The third most important thing is your timing. You want to be able to feel your sequences or lines as phrases, as rhythmic phrases, and you're just mixing those phrases up. So you want to feel that as a phrase, and then you're just moving those phrases up and down the neck or any kind of sequence that you like, and you're not, rushing it. You're just in the groove and feeling it. The fourth most important thing you can do is do not be in a hurry. You want to let your phrases end before you go into the next. And that kind of comes back to playing even. In other words, allow the phrase just to do its thing. Don't rush it. When you're playing fast, it's a group of notes played at a different tempo. It's not a group of notes that are just rushing. You're not rushing to play faster. You're just playing a phrase at a different tempo, if that makes sense. You don't want to rush. A lot of times I'll hear people play lines and they're playing these lines and they're going into they're so worried about hitting that next downbeat that they don't finish the phrase, or they cheat and come in early. You want to just come right in on time and let the phrase play out, because you're playing it in time. If you're playing sextuplets, you have that grouping of notes played even, then you start a new one. It's much more relaxing that way than just trying, I'm going to play fast now, and just randomly play fast. So that kind of goes back to what we did before. You want to take that chunk or whatever sequence you're working on and just group those together, but let each sequence finish before you go into the next. I hear that a lot, and that kind of comes back to timing. So just let the phrases finish. And the fifth thing is, you want to find out what's good for you. You don't have to necessarily copy exactly how a certain player does it. If you're able to cross a string a certain way that's comfortable, set your lines up so you're crossing with that stroke more than the one that's not comfortable. And if you need some tips on crossing strings, I really recommend checking out Troy Grady's Cracking the Code site. Just amazing. A really nice guy. Actually went to New York and filmed a video, hooked me up to the cameras and filmed it, and that should be coming out sometime in the future. But it's just a wealth of information on there. String crossing, whether you're using downstrokes or upstrokes to cross strings, and certain pick strokes. Like if you have your hand back and you pick a downstroke, you're going to clear the next string so you can come up and do an up. And he kind of explains that. But a lot of times the way we're holding our pick or our motion mechanic will determine what stroke is comfortable for us to switch on. So what I would do is just figure out what licks are comfortable for you when you're crossing strings, and focus on setting your lines up so you're using that string crossing. Me personally, I like to go outside the string, so I'll go down on a lower string, up on a higher. I like those licks a lot, so a lot of my lines are arranged in that order. So those are 5 tips I thought I would come on and share with you that maybe would help you in your journey to pick fast. Listen to a lot of Vinnie Moore, Mind's Eye also. I really recommend it. But if you have any questions or anything like that, please leave it in the comment section. And if you like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more picking stuff. I'm going to break down some scales, some sequences and that in the future, and talk about some of my favorite players, as well as post some of my own music. So thanks a lot, and have fun picking.